hope everyone enjoyed the Barcelona Grand Prix as much as I did. Seeing the Mercedes back in action with a double podium has given me a slight simmer of hope that this season might be interesting after all. In this video, I'll be doing a race review of the race weekend. And as per usual, the Red Bull of Max Verstappen was unstoppable. In this car, Verstappen has reached a level of drive similar to Hamilton during his era when no one can catch him, not even his own teammate. He was easily 30 seconds ahead of Lewis and just had one of them lonely races up front. He was just banging out fastest lap after fastest lap, but he was just left undisturbed and just enjoyed himself out there. Perez, on the other hand, had an abysmal race. He started ahead of Russell on the starting grid but somehow managed to finish behind him. It was just a very poor showing from him. You just know that if that was Max in his position, he would somehow end up minimum in P2 but most likely win the race. I remember when Perez had a good couple of races at the beginning of the season, a lot of people in the media and fans were all jumping on the hype train, saying that maybe Perez could challenge Max for a world championship. But let's face it, Perez is a great driver, but he is nowhere near the level of Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc or even George. I think it was a great result for the Red Bull team. They no longer have to beat around the bush and they can just support Max as the number one driver, as Perez is most definitely out of the world championship fight. It's going to be interesting though to see how Perez reacts in the next couple of races, if he carries on fighting or he just accepts that he'll be the number 2 driver at Red Bull. I hope he still has something in him. Maybe he could still get back in if Max has a DNF somewhere in the season, but let's just see. Hopefully he carries on fighting. Are the Mercedes back? That was a real question for me for this race. After debuting the W14B at Monaco, you couldn't really see the performance of the car at that race. So Barcelona was a real test to see if they've been successful with their huge upgrade. Wow, what a race for them. The upgrades seemed to be working quite nicely. Hamilton had a great race, comfortably in P2 and an average of 0.3 seconds slower per lap than Max, which is the best so far this season. George coming through the field with a lot of overtakes was also encouraging for the Mercs. That's something they've been struggling with for the last 18 months due to the drag that their car has on the straights. Overtaking has always been difficult. However, I think being realistic, even though it's great for the Mercedes that they've made some huge gains, they are still far too behind the Red Bulls. I can't see them being anywhere close to them this season. If they somehow manage to improve the car till the end of the season and get as close as possible, maybe next year they'll be able to compete. Even in last year's Barcelona Grand Prix in the W13, Hamilton gained back from P19 after his contact with Magnussen, back all the way up to P4. So even though this year they've had a great race, I think we need to take with a huge pinch of salt. Mercedes has always been amazing at Barcelona. All the drivers have raced at the track many times, so they know the track like the back of their hand, as Hamilton would say. I think we'll see the true pace of the Mercedes in the next couple of races, see where they stand after Aston Martin and Ferrari dial into their upgrades and see what everyone else's packages are up to. Then we'll see if the Mercedes have done a good job or not. But most interestingly, what happened to the Aston Martins this race? They were nowhere near the pace they've had all season. They've been completely off. Stroll finished ahead of Alonso for the first time this season. That must mean something definitely was wrong with their car. But I don't think they'll be too worried. They have large upgrades coming in the next race at Canada, and Alonso and the team seem to be very excited for them. Alonso even remarked after the Barcelona Grand Prix that we'll crush them at Canada, and that was their last race without a podium. He truly believes that they will be competitive enough to fight the Red Bulls for some races this year. So let's see if his statements come into fruition. If it does, then we could be enjoying some great races this season. Let's hope for the best. Another disappointment this race was the upgrades for the Ferrari. It seems to have taken them one step back. Leclerc had a horrible weekend, and it'd be one probably that he would want to forget all about and move on. Sainz did his best finishing P5, but let's be honest, it was a very poor weekend for Ferrari. The rest of the field was quite predictable. The Alpines came in 5th and everyone else was just behind them. I want to give some credit to some drivers who don't get the limelight on them as much as other drivers. Zhou Guanyu, what an incredible race from him. When it was announced last year for Alfa Romeo, I remember a lot of talk about the move being a paid driver, but I think slowly he's proving himself a very capable driver. This season he has been on par with Bottas and even beating him on several occasions, so big up on him. ACKA also currently in a very decent run of form. He's been driving excellently the last couple of races and once again has an upper hand on Gasly. I have to say though, poor Yuki, he had an incredible race. The penalty for him was really harsh in my opinion. The same type of move happened with Sainz and Max on lap 1, but nothing was given. You know, if the steering was fair then I wouldn't mind, but some penalties are so inconsistent, it just feels unjust. Sargent once again the biggest loser on the grid. Dead last, no shot there. Honestly, I feel like Williams should get someone with experience, maybe Kvyat, Hartley, Giovinazzi, someone in the race seat who could at least have a little bit more input than Sargent. So thank you everyone for watching the video. This, by the way, is a new YouTube channel. Being a huge Formula 1 fan, I just thought, hey, why not? Let's try and make some videos. Even if one person enjoys them, then that would be great content for me. I'll be making new videos every week. My next video will be on Saturday after qualifying from Canada. I will be doing a race prediction. If you have any feedback and ideas, please let me know in the comments. I'm looking to slowly learn how to create and edit higher quality videos. It may take time, but I hope you guys stick with me. Thank you guys for watching and please subscribe.